Hi! Hi. We are live. It's me, Sycra Yasin, with my good friend Bob Meatbag.
What up?
and,
Anyways.
and we're doing a stream because what? Why are you doing the stream? Cause I was gonna make a video and I made a video and it was some things ran into some issues with things, and then I always make a video a week and I'm like, oh no, I have to make my video on time, but there's no time to possibly fix what has gone wrong, and so I thought I need to do a stream then. And then Bob was sleeping, and I had to wait for him to wake up. So my point is, sometimes you have to stick to your schedules and do stuff on a schedule, because otherwise, if you miss it, you end up not doing stuff. That was a terrible explanation. Let me just get my mind right, I guess, and read. Let me read. Where's everybody from, or what? What? Okay, Jimmy Bates asks, hello, can I ask you something? You all study somewhere or you learn alone? Because I don't have money to go on school for drawing, but I want to learn alone, but it's hard. Yeah. I don't know what you mean by you all study somewhere. Like, did we go to school? Because, yeah, Bob and I went to an animation school, but I don't think we learned too much drawing there. But, if you mean, do we study like regularly outside? Yeah, we do that too. And that's pretty easy. You just find a couple of people who are, into art, and usually meet them. I don't know where you would meet them, but forums are good places to meet people. And then you just make the group, and you do it. And just be consistent. I mean, the consistency is the biggest thing, and I think that's one of the things that most people lack, is not so much, art skill, because tons of people have art skill, but it's really consistency. And that was really my point, where I was saying I needed to do a video once a week. I need to be consistent.
Yep. Oh, by the way, if you guys have any prompts for me, go ahead and put them in the chat, and I can, start drawing and entertaining you guys.
There are some prompts. Chrono King says, draw Ronald McDonald fighting the Colonel Sanders from KFC. Also, hi.
Okay. Hey. All right. Any else?
There's draw a baby seal sandwich.
Baby seal sandwich.
There is Shrek and a boy having a picnic at his castle.
Mm-hmm.
There's draw a flock of scorpions. Are they a flock? Attempting to grow wings so they can get pie.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to draw you like one of their French girls. Draw a leprous tanuki. A tanuki with leprosy? Is that what? Okay.
Yes.
Cat Jesus. A kiwi bird.
Mm-hmm.
Tekuntan says, I think Bob should draw what he likes to draw, like Legend of Zelda, instead of random subjects that people don't put effort into thinking. How do you know they don't put effort into thinking? Maybe they do.
I think okay. I'll try Ronald McDonald versus what was it? The king from Burger King? Is that what it was?
No, it was Colonel Sanders from KFC.
Okay. Colonel Sanders versus Ronald McDonald. All right.
Is that like copyrighted characters, or we should be good with that?
I don't think it matters.
Evgeny Shumsky, Sycra, that thing you drawing is sexy. How much for an hour? I'm not drawing. It's Bob. I can't draw. I never learned how to draw. I just rely on Bob.
Sanders.
I'm kind of sad because like I read these comments on 4chan and they were just horrible, and then I forgot about them, and then a guy reminded me about them, and apparently there's more, and it's just
Oh.
it's horrible.
Oh.
Yeah. 4chan is terrible. Whoever, it's just a place of negativity. But at the same time, I can't help but take it somewhat seriously.
No.
Um,
It's okay, man. Don't pay attention to that stuff.
yeah, I shouldn't.
But you can't help it.
What are you? I don't know. It's just like I don't like. I want to not care,
Hmm.
but these things they come in your ears, and then they just kind of hang out in your brain for a while.
Yeah, yeah. I know. It's inevitable when these stuff happen.
Hi from Virginia, USA. Hi, Chrono King. Why do I keep saying Chrono Kring? It's a heart. Chrono King. Precise 89. Hi from Ireland. Hello. Anime Cloud. How did you and Bob become so disciplined? It's actually just don't let yourself have an excuse.
Mm.
Like, okay, so for instance, we set up a study schedule where we would do 1 hour of studies every day. And we are at day, what is it, 301?
Yeah,
302?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's around there.
Yeah, it's around there. So, um, it's just, you don't get to not do it, that's all. So we set a time, and then if we couldn't make the time for whatever reason, like for instance, one time we went to LA to a workshop, and then we made a time. We made an hour. We set an alarm, and then we drew for an hour. We did our study session because you just have to make sure you do it, no matter what. Like you're not allowed an excuse. You don't get to sleep until you do it. And then if you have it very rigid like that, you will do it. The thing is, if you let yourself take 1 day off, I feel that'll kill you. If you just say, "Oh, I don't have time today to do the study session. Maybe I'll just make it up tomorrow," then you're screwed because then you just made an excuse. So then you can break it another time, right? So I think it's not hard. You just have to force yourself to do things even when you don't want to.
Yeah. If you make it into a thing of it's like I have no choice, I have to do this, then you inevitably will do it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Osmo Acosta. Quick, Sycra, tell me what pencil you use. Just gotten an Amazon gift card. I use a couple different pencils. I have a mechanical pencil that I use, and it's fine. It's got different lead. I use a 2B or 3B lead, and then, it doesn't matter. Whatever I tell you, it doesn't matter. You'll find something that suits you because that pencil suits me, but it's not like it's the most expensive pencil or the best pencil. It's just one that's like, oh, that works. Draw Sycra and yourself working out at the gym while looking at yourselves into the mirror. Bob doesn't work out at the gym.
Yeah, there's not much to show there.
All right. Are you having trouble with this one?
I don't know. I'm trying to see how to set this one up. It's just like, are they wrestling? Are they boxing? Are they in an arena? Oh, I know. They should just be fighting outside their own restaurants.
They could be like, I don't know. It's okay. Never mind.
Oh, what?
I was just gonna say fighting with the food, like he's holding like a giant fry and he's beating him, or
Oh,
maybe
okay.
he's holding a drumstick weapon.
Oh, okay, that could work. All right, let me try doing that then.
Sycra, can you teach us how to market ourselves? Hmm. Well, I don't know, because I don't know if I'm really good at marketing. I think that's one of my weaknesses is the whole business side of art. Um, but what I do think is very important is, first of all, exposure. So make sure you're getting yourself out there. And then if you make videos, I think it's really important to develop a voice that is not monotone. I think it's something that is quite underrated.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, if I was reading the question and I read it like, Sycra, can you teach us how to market ourselves? Yeah, that's a good question, and I can teach you how to market yourself. That's like it gets boring, so you have to be conscious of how you sound and try and make it a bit more interesting, I guess. I don't know. I mean, to me, sometimes I see really good artists and they're making YouTube channels and they're kind of monotone and it's hard to watch. Not because the art's bad, the art's really good. Um, but yeah, that. And then the other thing is, again, something that I don't really think. I don't know. It's my own ways of marketing because I do know what you're supposed to do. Like if I was supposed to do this stream properly and market myself, what would I have done? I would have given everybody plenty of warning. I would have planned it out. I would have set aside some topics. I feel horrible that I know this and I'm not doing it. I would do things like in the beginning. I would say, "Hi everybody, my name is Sycra Yasin, and and I always say, don't forget to subscribe. Hey, are you subscribed? Don't forget to subscribe and like and thumbs up this video and share it with your friends on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff." But instead, the way I think about it is this: it's just okay. I want to make something that I feel is respectful to my audience, and perhaps it would have been respectful to let you know that I was streaming in advance, but I really didn't know because I did not plan to do this stream. It was supposed to be something else. So I think being conscious, and that's the same with the whole monotone thing. It's like try and look at yourself from an outside point of view, objectively. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the comments are not updating, so I'm just trying to kill it. What's up? All right. Okay, so I'm put in a link to their DeviantArt. Let me just click this and see if we have time. Maybe I'll do a quick critique. Just 10 art. All right, I'll do a quick critique.
All right.
So overall, I think this is pretty nice. What you've got going for you is definitely a lot of the values seem pretty cool. I really do like a lot of the smoothness, but there's a lot of conflict that I feel, and that's because you've got all this smoothness that's really nice, but then you've got it really rough on his shirt. See how that is? It's sort of messy, and that's an issue. There's a bit of a lack of contrast in the eyes. I'm not sure. Maybe I would darken those a bit. Even if you don't darken the pupils themselves, maybe just throw a bit more form in there. But yeah, the main issue is just all this muddiness. And if you want to use textured brushes and things, that's okay. But let me see if I can find like a textured brush. If I was going to do this, I would be really conscious of making it perfect. So let's say I have that. I would try and think, like, what is the one stroke I can do to get this form? Maybe that one? Maybe that? I don't know. Like, So I'm not sure. I would rather you just treat it all the same, like have everything. You could have lost edges and hard edges, but maybe things are more smooth or less smooth. But kind of pick one, right? I don't know. I'm not very good at critiques. The other thing that's bothering me is this form with the ponytail. I'm not really sure what's going on here. Like, how is this connecting? But it's not bad, and I think if you just keep going, you'll get somewhere with it. I do think that it is important to be persistent whenever you try something new. That was something that I was getting little bit sad about, is that I'm working on my new style, and a lot of people, I mean, a lot of the 4chan comments, well, Sycra equals 0 skills. Thank you, Dick Richter.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, and a lot of people really don't like it, but it's this thing of like, anytime you do something new, you're probably going to be bad at it, and people might not like it. But if you really believe that there's something here down the road that I know it's going to eventually work, then just chase it. That's what I'm doing anyway, and maybe it won't work. But I mean, it was the same thing when I started making YouTube videos. I wasn't very good. I didn't talk, and you just keep doing it, and you get better and better at doing it, and then eventually, when you're good enough, people come around, and then they sort of act like you have something they don't, as if, wow, you're amazing, but it's, no, I'm just like you, but I did something, and I kept doing it, even though I wasn't very good, and eventually you get better. All right. Can you turn this stream into a critique stream? I'm not very good at critiques, as you can see, but so I don't know. Maybe if there's nothing else to talk about, I'll do critiques. Didn't even mention Google Plus, further testament to how much people cares. I don't know. TrickBit says, I draw about 3 to 4 hours a day on average. Is that enough? I want to get to a professional level as soon as I can. Is that possible if I'm practicing the fundamentals around half the time? Every day? I think if you do it every day, 3 to 4 hours is okay. I would say it's important what you're doing, right? Like, if you have 3 to 4 hours of intense work where you're really absorbing a lot of information, you're really paying attention and studying hard, yeah, that's fine. You'll be fine. Because, I mean, the opposite is definitely true, where you have people who spend 8 hours or 10 hours, but they're sort of mindlessly just drawing over and over and over again, and of course it will help, but I think you can definitely achieve the same results by just working smarter. What do you think?
Yeah. It's if you're just mindlessly copying, you're not really, like, maybe you might be working some part of your brain that's based on intuition, and then you might get something a little bit subconsciously. But if it's just that, then you're not getting the full scope of things. If you actually study something and you analyze why it works, then it sinks in deeper. What?
I'm just reading the comments where they're like, 4chan is mean to everyone, if that helps. I think Dick Richter is from 4chan. And then someone else is like, now I want to see what they said. Okay. Should I read what they said?
Yeah. Okay, I think you should.
All right.
I was asking for it.
All right. Who would win in a fight? Proko versus Sycra. Stan is by far, that's Stan Prokopenko, for those who don't know. He's an amazing artist, and he's way better than me. Like, it's sort of like I'm this amateur boxer, and then someone's like, well, would you beat Mike Tyson? And it's like, no. Like, obviously not. So I find the questions funny. But anyway, Stan is by far the superior draftsman and painter. That being said, they both do very different work, so I'm not sure how they'd have a fight. If it is anything from reference, Stan would win in a heartbeat, but he doesn't do illustration, so might lose there. I was actually talking about in a fist fight. Proko is maybe more skilled, but for some reason, maybe because Sycra struggled so much to improve, he manages to explain concepts that better draftsmen just don't explain at all, because they seem so obvious to them. In a real fight, probably Sycra doesn't. Stan doesn't look like a big fighter. I think I would lose.
Oh, boy.
Sycra has some nice illustrative skills, but I haven't seen him branch out too much.
Oh, what?
Is that true?
No.
I thought, because I've done a little bit of everything, but I don't think I'm very good with illustration. What does Sycra even look like? Nobody wins. Everybody wins. Okay, that one wasn't too harsh.
Yeah, that one was nicer.
That one was okay, but... okay. Okay.
I think that's it, right? There's actually not much on that.
Yeah, that Proko fight is that one, but this one's a brutal one. Okay.
Oh boy.
So most of you are probably familiar with Sycra. Kick-ass, nice guy, good teacher, sounds like Spider-Man, racist accents, needs to draw more in his live streams. I guess most of those are true. I don't think they're supposed to be racist accents. They're just racially inspired accents. It's bad accents. How about that? Bad accents.
Yeah.
Needs to draw more in his live streams. No, I really don't. That guy. Can we discuss his new style? He said that as recently as the last month that he's finally happy with his artwork, and he seemingly decided to work in a very stylized way, as opposed to his more usual concept artish work. What does IC think? What does IC mean? That's just 4chan?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with 4chan.
Anyway, what does IC think? Is this a good direction to go in, or would this be a bad move? The idea. I'm just screwing around with my life. It's like, would this be a bad move? I mean, people should do that with, like, hey, I met this new girl, and then everyone just comments, like, what about this direction?
Would that be a smart move?
Would that be a smart move? I don't know. She has a crooked tooth. Anyway, and then the first comment is, that Dragon Ball guy looks effing stupid.
Oh, jeez.
Another shit thread. OP is definitely not Sycra. Needs more Loomis. He's okay, but nothing worth discussing.
Oh, shit.
I like Sycra, but the style is hideous.
What? Oh, man, that's painful.
If he's happy with it, then whatever. No reason to pigeonhole yourself into one style just because you think it's successful, especially if you feel an urge to move in different directions. Don't stifle yourself.
Oh, that's a...
Someone else says, Sycra, please. Next one. I actually kind of like it, but it doesn't always work. For example, the Anumu girl on the right is effing awful. He knows the basics, though, so whatever. Just let him experiment with it as much as he wants. Lackluster style. He's trying too hard to define himself instead of letting it come naturally. Anyway, it looks like shit. I'm sure it's just a phase. Sycra isn't anything special. He's above average at best. See, the thing is, with this one, the guy's like being all mean, like, he isn't anything special. He's above average at best, but I was actually happy because it's like, holy crap, I'm above average. I didn't think I was above average. I thought I'm like, he's below average at best. Because I'm not, like, I'm very conscious that I'm not very good. Anyway, and then it just keeps going on.
Right. Man. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's like when you get to a certain size, it's just like forums start popping up, and they start discussing you.
Yeah.
That is kind of odd. But oh well, a lot of these people, from the sounds of it, they're not really too appreciative of like just personal style. Seems like very much they're more towards, like just like
I
I
mean,
hear this I hear this a lot. A lot of people just think that like style comes naturally, you know?
and it does for some people, but
hmm
for me, I'm just art is not my strength.
Mm.
Um, and so analysis, I'm much better with analysis. So for
Yeah.
me, I have to think about everything. Um, Samuel DeSantis. So does Sycra read this chat or the other one? I read this one, Samuel. Let me check out the other one just in case. Uh, yeah, there's not many questions in the other one. How old are you? I'm 30 years old. I'm old. How old are you? um,
Man, I'm not doing so hot today.
that's okay. You just woke up, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh well. Hopefully you guys can forgive me.
You're getting comments as well. Why is the Colonel's right arm so damn ripped?
Oh shit, I just noticed. Fuck. Dang, dang, dang. Gotta make it bigger. There we go. Now his other arm's ripped as well. Chrono's been doing some steroids on the side.
Mm-hmm. Getting big in some places and small in others. um. Okay. Hey, Sycra, did you ever have to force yourself to draw even when you didn't feel like it at all? Is it a good idea to do that? Okay, it's a good idea to do that when you're getting your foundations and doing just like practice that's not really idea based. Like I would not recommend that too much if you were doing concepts. I feel I don't know, maybe it would work, but for me personally, every time I force myself when I'm not feeling it, I don't come up with good ideas, but it will help in just basic stuff like hand-eye coordination, maybe just getting some mileage, you know? I mean, I did that a lot. It's not that did I ever have to force myself. It's like most of the time I was forcing myself. It's only now that it feels like I'm not forcing myself to do stuff. Like with the style stuff, I actually somewhat think it's okay, even though
Other people hate it.
Mm. Oh man. Um, Benamaxia says, Sycra, I draw a lot, but I can't finish my works. Do you have any tips? Do you have any tips for that one, Bob?
What was the question again?
This person says they draw a lot, but can't finish their works.
Can't finish their works. Like, what do they mean by not finish their works? Like, they just can't complete the drawing, or? Because that seems a bit, I don't know, something about that seems a bit ambiguous. Like, like you can't finish the entire image, or just like any piece of drawing, you cannot finish it. Like if you drew an arm, you only draw a piece of the arm and can't finish the hand? Or do you mean like make it look professional?
Yeah. Because if it is make it look professional, there is a tip, and that is to open up work that is done by a professional, and then look at your work. And this can be discouraging, so try not to be discouraged, but try and view it like really detached from your emotions and just look back and forth and like, okay, what does this, and make it similar, you know, of course. If you're doing like a more anime style, you wouldn't put up like a realistic painting and then compare the two. But if you're doing realism, then post up someone else who's doing realism and look at the professional and sort of see, you know, what are they doing that I'm not? What am I missing? Do I have to add more detail? Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you have to get rid of some detail. A lot of times people get, you know, too much into textures and things. So I would say that was helpful for me, is to open up reference of someone who is professional and to compare it. I should probably do that more. What do you think of Bajid's art? He is my favorite artist. I don't know this person, but I will look at it. Oh, it's very nice. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I am a Looking through it, I'm already a big fan of this Bajid guy. Very nice. Very nice. The knuckle joint in my pinky has been really painful, says TrickBit. I do wrist stretches and take breaks, but after a few hours, my hand gets too sore to draw. What do I do? I don't know, but that sounds painful. Because, yeah, I would suggest the wrist stretches, but you're saying you already do that in the breaks, so I don't know. XX Protocol 17. I'm in the mood to do a ton of hashtags, but don't want to piss off you guys in the chat. I don't really understand the whole hashtags thing. I don't.
Yeah, what's the whole hash? I've been seeing it around. It's like hashtag something.
Well, I think it's like people can find it in a related thing. I don't know. I see his life. I see his love. Oh, I'm so confused about everything. Linton Chambers. Do you think Renaissance artists are a lot better than artists today? I don't know. I don't know. I think artists today do some things better, and artists in the past perhaps did other things better, but I'm not sure. I've thought about something like this recently, and was talking to some friends, and there was a lot of different ideas.
Well, I just suppose it depends on this. Like, what do they mean? Like, painting from life or imagination works or stuff like that, because that's sort of different.
Someone was saying your laugh actually scares them. Yeah, I don't know. This is turned into a very judgmental stream, I guess, because I went into being all scared about the 4chan thing. Oh, your image is looking good now. It's working.
Yeah, I figured they needed something in the background to make it work.
It's much better now.
Yay, I saved it.
You saved it. You did it. You did it.
Yay, I'm still beloved by the mobs of Rome.
Ghost591 says, I feel as though my characters are pretty good, but I have trouble trying to put them into poses that suit them. Is there any way that I can fix that? I think I know what you're going to say already, but I'll say it anyway. Try acting it out. Think about the character of your person, like an actor, right? Imagine you are an actor, and this is your role. And then physically get up and think about the poses, and you'll realize that you will maybe not naturally, but hopefully you will start to take on certain ways of holding yourself. Perhaps if you're not very good with that, you could study other people. Do some, go to a coffee shop and watch people and see if there's someone who has the same personality as your character. Notice, I mean, there's so many, and I feel bad for saying this too because it's not something I do, but it's something I know I should do. But I know I did it for a little while. And it is crazy how much you'll notice very interesting, subtle things that people do. For instance, some people will talk, but when they talk, their head is like tilted diagonally the whole time. It's like at a 45-degree angle. They're like, huh, yeah, I guess some people do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Getting things from reality is always very informative. Sometimes when you just work from imagination, your visual library, and this happens to me all the time, like my visual library can be lacking. So then it's just like when you do things, when you pose it out or you just observe from real life, you're getting more information than what you just have in your mind.
Someone said this stream will be deleted due to copyright infringement. It won't, because that's Donald McRonald.
And he's a public figure.
He's Donald McRonald and Lieutenant Panders. And that's not a Big Mac, that's a large Mick. I don't know.
I don't know what that is either.
Hashtag YOLO, hashtag bobmeatswag.
Bobmeats.
Who is your favorite artist? Asked Cindy Nguyen. I don't know how to pronounce Nguyen. N-G-U-Y. But it's Kim Jung-gi. Yeah, I think I've said that a lot.
Yeah.
Um, Chrono King says this is better than I imagined. I love you, you glorious meatbag.
Oh man, I love you too,
Have you guys seen Bob's recent videos on his channel? I really have been enjoying them. Um,
Shameless advertisement.
but it's true. I like them. I really yeah. Shameless advertisement. Well, you know, you're drawing for these people. The least I can do is show your work.
Well, thank you. I
The
appreciate it.
recent ones are really strange. You should try to look at them, and you will see they are very strange. Anyway, yeah, youtube.com/bobmeatbag.
Check it out.
Okay. 4006. How do I do longer works and make them look spontaneous/full of energy? When I spend a long time on something, it always looks stiff, lifeless, and overworked. I think constant breaks helps. Also, flipping your image and doing it in short bursts when you have the energy. And maybe it might be a good idea if you're, instead of working on one piece for like 15 hours straight, maybe work on 3 pieces but go in between the 3, jump between one piece and the next. It also takes a lot of time. Like, so much of the skill of doing things, when people say, like for me, I feel I'm okay at making smooth lines, like nice lines. I'm okay. I've done that decently. And then people will say, you know, you're so good at that, but it's that, well, I wasn't always good at that. That took many years to be able to do. So just understanding that mileage helps. The Seven Faces 3 says, Sycra, I went to OCAD for 3 months when I was 18, and I've learned more from your channel in 2 months than I did at school. Thank you. That's very nice. Brian is craving fries and fried chicken right now.
I know how you feel.
Mr. Wright got me. They are not. Richard Schmidt could kick anyone's asses. Nope. Not true. He's really good, but there are people who are better. Are you planning on doing another speed sketch anytime soon? No. Am I? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Knitting King says, is it weird to want to be on a pro level, but art is still a hobby to you? I don't think that's weird. And I think I'm starting, and I said this to a friend, and I don't think this friend was all too happy to hear it, but I kind of feel like I'm becoming a hobbyist artist anyway. I'm spending so much time teaching and doing other things that it's like I don't put enough time into art to be super good at it. And I've started writing because I'm doing, like, me and Bob, we're doing a secret thing, a secret project, and I'm doing a lot more writing, and it's like, I think I'm a bit more talented in this than art, because writing comes so easily to me, and art has always been a struggle. So I'm starting to think, like, am I just like a hobbyist artist? I don't know. I don't know. I've just started drawing this year. Is it late? I'm 17 years old. No.
Wow, you're young.
Yeah, it's not too late. Again, it doesn't matter about age. It matters about how much time you have and how persistent you are.
Yeah. Just depends on how hard you work, how smart you work, and how much time you put into it.
Yeah, because, see, if you're older, it's always a case of more obligations, not so much a case of is it too old? It's not that. You could be young and have no time as well, right? I think something that is very underrated that I'm understanding more now is just having the time or the luxury to find the time to do the work that you need to do. That's really important. And I think art school perhaps one of the greatest things about art school is really that you can invest, you have time to invest, and it's like you're in a place that it's okay. Whereas I found, for me anyway, there was also this thing of you're doing art, but people look at you as if you're doing nothing because it's not the same as if you're in school. Because people, if you're in school, people think, oh, he's a student, he's studying. But if you're studying at home and you're not, formally in a school, people just think they'll ask you like, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh, I just pray. I'm trying to get better at art. Oh, are you going to school? Oh, no. And then they just think like, oh, well, you're just screwing around and probably playing video games all day, and it's really not the case. But it's a thing is when I actually went to school, I found that I learned much less than when I was just working by myself. Because I did feel bad. Like I felt like, oh, maybe if I go to school, I'll be learning much more and all this stuff. Because it seemed true, but yeah. Caleb Voicenadis, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but says, Bob Meatbag, do you like Hiroyuki Imaishi? It seems like you might. Also, you should draw HK47 sometime.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think I recognize that artist that you recommended, so I can't say.
Maybe I'll look it up.
All right.
Because I don't know this person either. He's a Japanese key animator and anime director. Oh, it's pretty nice.
No, let's
it seems like stuff happens all over the place, but yeah, I'll just post it in the chat thing.
All right.
Chat. Anyway, okay. Could you do a quick tutorial advice on backgrounds, not necessarily full-on landscapes, just a background scenery for the actual subject, like how much detail to put in it, etc. I'm really not a background person, and I've been asked this a lot, environments and backgrounds, and to do them, and I've been told by other people. Actually, no, I read it on the 4chan thing. But that, like, oh, I don't go out of my comfort zone. But the thing is, I don't enjoy doing backgrounds, so I don't care. I'm not going to bother. Because at some point, it's not that it's like, oh, you couldn't do it. It's like, no, I could if I tried. Because I do sometimes with work. It's like, yeah, you have to do a background. You don't like it. And there's also a case of, in some cases, you enjoy things more the better you get at them. But for me, I've just never really enjoyed it. And at this point in my life, I'm not going to do stuff I really don't enjoy. Because I won't do a good job. Like, even if I'm teaching it, how am I going to be a good teacher if I don't know what I'm talking about? And of course, some people could say, well, you don't know what you're talking about in anything. And it's like, yeah, possibly. But in that case, I really wouldn't know what I'm talking about. Zeta Wolf asks, how to study anatomy? Drawing from Google images of musculature and bones, good idea. I have a few tools that I find really help me. One is a life-size skeleton, which I'm not saying you have to go and get, but the one I got, it was pretty cheap. Like, I think it was under $200, which is pretty good. And then I have this anatomy tools model thing that also helps. But the tool I use the most is an app called Le Crochet, and it's I believe it's for the iPad. I don't know if it's for Android. It might be. Anyway, it is this app, and see how it's all gray? You can click another one, and it actually has all the muscles in different colors, and you can spin this around and look at different areas, and it's not perfect, because I would like it if you could actually physically manipulate the limbs and move them in different places, but it is very good. I find it very helpful for learning anatomy. And then, yeah, I look at Google, and I look at insertion points and origin of muscles, and still get things wrong. Okay. How far are you in your thing? Do you need another?
Yeah, I think I'm just about done.
Okay. Draw a baby seal sandwich. I don't know. What else? Why don't you draw HK47 doing something?
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, now all the comments come in. Okay. Korich asks, Sycra, did you ever feel that you couldn't find your style? I'm talking about the drawing type. Sometimes it feels like messy line art is better than clean. Same goes for coloring methods. Any advice? Yeah, I felt that a lot. That I was searching for something, and I wasn't sure what it was. And it was a thing of I think mileage helps, and also understanding that just because you admire something in someone else, it doesn't mean that's where you go. Because I would look at people's work and I would be like, oh, I like that, but at the same time I didn't enjoy doing it. So I think experience really does help. Like so many things, mileage just is so important. Let's see. Okay, Rex the Awesome. I continue to hear people talk about fundamentals, mainly that consists of line, form, and perspective. But how do you put it all together? I can draw boxes all day. It never seems quite there. Well, just drawing boxes all day is not really the point. And for me, I found that with all these fundamentals, it's much easier if you're actually creating an image and then you run into the problems of a lack of fundamentals, and then you learn it that way, so it's more practical. So, for example, let's just say I was doing a drawing, right? And I have... this is going to be my frame, and my idea is to have a guy. And he's like jumping. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's I don't know. He's doing something, but God, like his legs are up, right? And it's like, okay, so that's my idea. Is I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, okay. So then the thing is like, okay, and then I put the horizon like way up here, and then I'm saying he's jumping, but it looks like he's sliding. Okay, this looks terrible. Okay, let me redo this, because that's like, dude. Okay, so we have a person and they're standing, right? Okay, and we're looking up at them. Let's just do that. It's simpler, less issues. Now, if I do this and I say, well, I need to get the perspective right, this is actually something that I'm interested in. So I could think, okay, well, if I think of a box and I'm looking up at the box, right? If I just draw this box, it's boring, because like, who cares about boxes? I mean, maybe some people do. But the point is, like, when you look at this box, see how you get this. This is going this way, this is going this way, this is going this way. We see underneath the form. You could do the same thing with a cylinder, where you notice like how the cylinder curves. And so then you see, okay, so if we think of this like that, so this is a box, then it means if this guy's wearing a belt, the belt's going to be going this way, not this way. Because if I do this, that means the horizon is somewhere in between here. But if I do this, it means the horizon's down, which means we're looking up, which means, okay, we're gonna see a bit of underneath his chin perhaps, and then the nose, the eyes and things. But it's like you create perspective, but it's perspective for a reason, right? It's not just random stuff. It's not just a box. You're thinking of the box things, but in a practical application. I don't know if that made any sense. And I can't draw. Oh, man! Have you heard of Alexandre Deboine? He's my favorite artist. His name is Zadig on DeviantArt. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Great. He's a great guy.
Okay. How does it feel having more than one viewer while drawing? The most I got streaming were 4, and I don't know how to advertise myself. How does it feel? It feels like I'm super self-conscious, that I feel I'm constantly making a fool of myself and I don't know what I'm saying. But that's because I'm insecure. Let's see. You're a hobbyist if you think you're a hobbyist. I think you're not talented in art if you think you're not talented in art. I disagree, but if that's what you think, Mr. Raigami. One creative concept says, throughout my artistic experience, I found that I observe people in much better detail. I'll really freak out my friends with, yeah, your eyebrows are just so interesting. Have you done that? Yeah, absolutely. And caricature really helps you do that a lot. You start to see all this interesting stuff. You see, just a person's nose, or one eye is higher than the other, and it becomes really interesting. Whereas I guess normal people, either they don't notice it, or if they do notice it, they might even just think like, oh, that's ugly, but not really. It just becomes interesting and it adds character. Le Crochet is not on Android. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay. I'm waiting for the next like huge stream of comments. Roman Thomas, I was just wondering about the speed sketches because they make me have that itch to draw more whenever I watch them. Okay. You should open a tiny chat and random artists come stream with you. I don't know what a tiny chat is because I don't know anything about the internet. What is a website? What's a tiny chat? Do you know what a tiny chat is?
I have no idea. This is the first time I've heard of it.
We are the worst.
We're cavemen.
Oh boy. Chrono Kings is like, Bob has a channel. Yes, Bob has a channel.
Yeah. I've got a channel. Why don't anybody notice me?
People notice you. Just not enough people. The grandson of Shrapnel Anime says the grandson of the inventor of the Big Mac goes to my school. That's good. You'll get really good at art. Aaron Pinell, what are some good ways to expand your visual library and to keep it managed? I did say you should draw and not spend all your time playing video games, but I do think video games kind of help with visual library. So do movies. So does going outside and experiencing new places. Traveling, if you can afford it, traveling is probably the best way. Reading, making yourself imagine the worlds that you're reading about. Careful observation of little things, just noticing the details in things. Because, I mean, that's the same with life drawing. It's not just paying attention to the superficial big shapes, which is what you do in the beginning, but then to start look at the little things. For instance, someone's wearing an earring. Okay, but then what does a clasp look like, or whatever it's called? I don't know, the thing that goes in the ear. You know, little things. How does gravity affect how the ear hole reacts? Ear lobe, etc. Pekuntan, question. Sycra, okay. Is it possible to paint realistically without using photos? Yeah, I think so. You just gotta think. I mean, that's what Scott Robertson does, right? He paints realistically, and he doesn't need photos because he understands all the fundamentals. Hey, Sycra, Graham Crackers asked, what is meant by edge control? Edge control is like whether you have soft edges or hard edges or loose edges. So, oh boy, I'm scared of showing it, but I guess this is okay because it's just edge control. Should be safe. So, this is a hard edge between this, see, let's say the paper area. No, screw that. I mean, whatever. We're gonna have green and then this brownish color. That is a hard edge. And then this is a firm edge. See, it's not as hard, the edge between that, but it's still kind of hard. It's a firm edge. And then this, need a soft brush. This is a soft edge between these two. And then this, and I mean this could be softer, but this would be a lost edge where you can't tell where the where one color starts and the other stops. It's just that whole edge is missing. So edge control is understanding how to utilize all these in your image effectively. You want a good variation of those. You want some hard edges and some soft edges and some firm edges and some lost edges. Yeah. Okay, why is it that Renpa Gota asks, why is it that when I sketch it looks good, but when I do line work and remove the sketch layer, it looks so bad? When I sketch, when I do line work. Well, because sketching allows you to be a lot more. Okay, back to you've done a baby seal. Oh wow. Okay, back to my thing. It's because of this. When I sketch, and let's say I'm messy, and I'm sketching, and I sketch like this, right? Let's say I'm doing a face. Okay. All right. Now this is, it looks a certain way, and then let's say I added details, and I clean this up, and I add the lines. Well, the thing is that when I add the lines and get rid of the sketch layer, it looks bad if, or it looks bad because when we see this, what happens, and even with this, is our brain makes up stories for what this stuff is. For instance, this appears to be a random shape, right? Like this line might be a quote-unquote wrong line, but what our brain might read that as is like, oh, there's some value indicating that there's a chin, so this is underneath the chin. There's a bit of shading here. Like, even though you know that's just, those are wrong lines or lines you didn't intend to have, your brain is looking at that and it's making up reasons for that being there. Then when you get rid of it, your brain doesn't know, like, wait, this is just that firm, clear line, whereas what happened to all that shading and all that stuff? Like, basically your brain is coming up with stuff. Same as when you have multiple lines, and so I was scribbling like this, and one of these lines is right, well, what happens is your brain kind of finds like maybe that line and it says, oh, that's the line I'm going to focus on. And it's more forgiving when you have a lot of lines, a lot of sketchy lines. But then once you get rid of that, your brain has to, like, you just reduce it to one line. That line has to be perfect. Whereas your brain might have looked at this and seen that line in that mess, and it just focuses on that, as long as it's seeing the right thing. So when you're doing this, you have to be so much more precise. You have to look at and you also have to look at this and see, like, okay, what is my brain picking out that's so interesting with this? And I think there was a time with you, Bob, where you were doing a picture, and it was sort of like that, right?
Yeah.
You're running into that. And it's because sometimes when you look at a sketch, you're actually seeing stuff that you don't know you're seeing, if that makes any sense. There might be like a random line, but your brain makes up something for it. Like when you're looking at it, and it's like, oh, that's cool, but then you're not actually consciously aware that that line is helping you see something extra. And so to get rid of it, it's actually very, you got rid of something good, right?
Yeah. It's just that, like, you know, when you have a lot of lines and everything, especially if you're drawing it rough, it's like your mind will just interpret the line into whatever looks good, you know. And then it's like when it's rough, you can get away with a lot of things. When you get rid of it, when you want to clean it up, it's like, okay, now you have to define this nonsense, you know. And then a lot of the times it's like this random line that turned into a shape. It's like when you don't have it there anymore, it's just like, oh, what are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah. Okay, got more questions now. Good. Okay, someone asked. This question is for Bob. Asked D Mitsuki. I first saw him on these streams, and every single time he draws multiple pictures, and they all look really well done. How much and for how long a day did you draw, Bob, when you weren't genius level god tier?
I've been drawing for as long as I can remember, and I think that's probably it. Like when you do something for a long time, especially when you're young, it becomes innate. I think that's how you say it. It becomes an intuition. For me, I drew a lot when I was a kid, and then when I saw cartoons, I copied that. So then, basically, I've been drawing since I was young, so it became a part of my muscle memory. And I've been watching cartoons and stuff like that since I was young, so I built up a certain amount of visual library. So I kept doing that, and then eventually I got to a point where I was just able to draw certain things very quickly. That's how it is. At least I think that's how it is for me. I'm pretty sure it is.
I remember when, because I met Bob in animation school, as I said, and when I first saw his work, I wasn't actually impressed. It wasn't that good. It was okay, but it wasn't really good. And then as the year progressed, he just got so much better.
Yeah, it's also I think the fact that it's like, for example, when I'm drawing something I'm not familiar with, I become significantly slower, and when I was doing Ronald McDonald and Colonel Sanders, for example, I'm not familiar with doing that. So then, like, my muscles and my mind don't have that innate intuition. Whereas, like, certain other things, like, for example, even this character right here, the boy, I drew it really quick because I'm more familiar with it. And then for me, it's just like the more often I draw something and the more familiar I am with it, the faster I can draw it.
Okay. Yeah. Kiss the Chief, it's spelled chef. That's right. Okay. So I have Pikachu says, I have a huge, or Pikachu. Anyway, I have a huge problem with drawing my friends because I feel like I'll draw something they're insecure about. Any tips? It's hard. I avoid that because so many times. I mean, there's a time when my sister was like, "Oh, draw me a caricature," and I'm like, "No." It's like, do it. And she talked me into doing it, but I kept saying, "No, you will not like it." And then when I did it, everyone else is laughing and says it looks like her, and she's she's offended. Like, oh, but no, my nose doesn't look like that. I'm like, this is why. This is why I do not draw. I don't think it's a good idea necessarily to draw your friends. You're asking for trouble. It's more rare than that you find someone who can actually take it. Especially, and I don't mean to be sexist, but I find women much more often will be offended if you draw them in a way that is unflattering. So, okay, Miami says, someone says on Tumblr that it's not good to make your character's nose brown pink when you draw in certain styles. What do you think? I don't know. I know there's a lot of the whole color the tip of the nose red. That's, like, when I first saw it, it was very much in French art, where they would do that red nose thing. I think it's fine if you understand why you're doing that. Like, okay, yeah, you're increasing the blood to that, so then you would also make the ears more red. Like, to me anyway, if you're gonna do that, you would naturally do everything that goes with that, you know. But it's up to you, I guess. I don't think anyone can say what you should or shouldn't do when you draw. I just think it's helpful if it comes from a place of understanding. NMLSS says, it'd be cool to do a reverse streaming, us drawing stuff for you. Whoa. I don't know how that would work, or trying to draw how Bob might actually look. Yes, if you did that, that would be cool. I'm really curious and kind of scared. Oh, I've seen him and I'm kind of scared. No. Kenzu says, Sycra, you're great. No. I think a way to you improve more would be to expose more of your art. Maybe. I guess I've really thin skin, unfortunately, and I wish I was stronger. And I'm working on it, but it is a case where it's like, I don't know. I'll get into things and then I'll see like one bad comment and I'll get obsessed about it. I second guess myself and then I start to get into paralysis. So I've got to learn how to overcome this, and if I do find a good way of overcoming it, I'll probably make a video about it. Any advice on composition, like if you had to come up with an entire drawing from scratch? Yeah, I did a video series on composition this last Starfighter lighter. Gotex says, I have a lot of good ideas in my head, but I don't know how to portray them on canvas, and it gets really discouraging. How do you know, or do you know how I can get rid of this discouragement? I mean, I know what you mean, because I still go through that, but it gets easier over time, I feel.
Yeah, just need more practice to do more.
Daniel Cluster, in Will Terrell's newest video, he talks about sketch clubs. Were you or Bob ever involved in anything like that? Well, we have our own little study group, but as far as sketch clubs go, I'm not like Will in that I'm really not so extroverted. I'm quite comfortable. Like, I'm only really comfortable when I draw with my headphones on and no one else around. And that's the same. I mean, that's just me. It's the same as when I read. I don't like to read when other people are around. When I read novels and things, I mean. Or even when I watch films, I like to just block out the rest of the world. And everybody's different. I know with Bob, when we do studies, he even like right now, he can draw right now. But that's one of the problems that I have when doing like these streams. If I draw, I just can't, because I have my thinking brain working, and that's not the brain that works when I draw. And so I listen to music to keep that other side preoccupied. As I said, I'm not I'm not talented in art, but I mean, this whole concept of talent, I think it's such a huge thing, and there's room for so much misunderstanding. But it does feel that certain people's brains work better in certain areas. I'm pretty good at pattern recognition. I'm pretty good at analysis. I'm pretty good at more left brain things. I'm not as comfortable with just seeing shapes. I have a mild case of, I think it's called face blindness, where if I don't recognize people by their face, it's very hard for me. I have a very bad visual memory or library. When I read, I don't actually imagine things. Like, I know a lot of people, they read, and as they're reading, their brain is just imagining scenes in their mind. For me, it doesn't work that way, but it does very much work that way with music. So I don't know. I think you got to find who you are and what you like. If sketch clubs are for you, that's cool, but it's not something that I ever felt really comfortable with. Dolly Khan says, I'm having trouble with searching for a job involving art. I'm not sure if I'm at the right level to begin applying. How do I know when I'm ready? Sometimes I feel like I'm just overconfident. I think as long as you're putting artwork out there, people will contact you, or if you're involved in forums, you'll get a lot of, there's sort of a turning point where at first you're not getting that many comments or likes or whatever it is on your art, but there is a point where it starts to change. Also, if you're applying, I don't know, I mean, you're ready really whenever. What makes a person professional is really that someone just paid you. I mean, it sounds not very nice, but it's just that. It's like, oh, someone paid you $5. Well, now you're a professional, and you're earning $5 for your art. That's what your art is currently worth until someone pays you more. It's kind of more about market forces. You know, if people like what you do, then it's worth something. If people don't, then it's not like it's worth nothing, but it's just, that's what it is. And you'll see people who are in professional environments, but they're really not that good. Or some people are getting paid more than people who are much better. But then at the same time, there's supremely good artists. So I don't know. But yeah, I think it's public opinion sort of decides when you're there a little bit. Let me know if you're close to done. Are you coloring any of these?
Maybe. I don't know if I will, but it's a possibility.
Right. Okay. Mara 3D is a great app for anatomy. Oh yeah, I've seen that one. Okay, let me see. A club of living cigars smoking people in their person club.
Okay.
Okay. And someone else said a rat fighting a turd monster.
I will do the one about the cigars.
Okay. Enigmatic Enigma says, no, Sycra, you do not have the time to draw when you're in an art school. At least in my experience, the work from other non-art courses ends up getting in the way. Yeah. I went to an animation school, so you have to animate, and so you end up drawing a lot. Like, because you have to animate, it requires a lot of drawings. But I also see what you say there, or I know what you mean. There are a lot of courses that are sort of like, well, not doing a lot. Benamaxia asks, Sycra, have you heard of PicArto, streaming site for artists? I don't know. I don't know if I have. Maybe? I don't know. Sounds familiar. Chuang Nguyen says, how do you and Bob maintain financially stable while becoming an artist? I'm poor. The stable part of the financially stable, I don't think anyone has, to be honest. because the art field is not stable. I guess if you're good, it's okay, but I don't personally feel that stability at all. And so what I do is I have a lot of different sources of income. Some is from freelance work, some is from YouTube, some is from videos that I might have done for other people. Some was from private teaching, and it's just to have a lot of small sources of income, and that creates a safety net of sorts. But it is a case that usually artists are, it's not a smooth thing. Like with normal people, you go to like college or university and you finish your degree and then you get a job and you're making a certain amount. Well, with artists, it's more like you're making nothing, you're making nothing, you're making nothing, you're making a tiny amount, making a tiny amount, tiny amount, tiny amount, a little bit more, and then hey, it's okay, I can live off this now. And I don't know, some people can make a lot, and it's very, it really depends, and it also depends on the job because, for instance, in the animation industry, there's a lot of jobs that pay decent, and when I say decent, I don't know, let's say $40,000 to $70,000 dollars a year, and I guess that sounds like, well, depending on where you are in the world, but rent in Vancouver is roughly around $1,000 if you're downtown. So you're living, but you're not like well off by any means. But then again, to have that studio job, you're usually doing work that might be more difficult. Like for me, I would have a lot of sadness, depression, if I was doing that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, was the prompt about cigars or cigarettes?
Cigars.
Okay.
Okay. Let me refresh this. I think I don't know, typical artist.
What?
Anyway, whatever. Just nothing.
Okay.
This stream has gotten a little too philosophical for me, I say with a poised look, looking at HK47 serving a baby seal sandwich. Okay. Let's go for 10 more minutes and then let's end this.
Yeah, we'll call it a day.
Yeah. Linton Chambers says, what do you think about LaShawn Thomas's work? I think it's great. Huge fan of LaShawn Thomas. Question by Takuntan, Sycra and Bab. Okay, you're no longer Takuntan, you're Tapuntan. Good. So Tapuntan says, what's your favorite video game of all time?
I have well, the ones that immediately come to mind are KOTOR 2, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah. And I also like, I played some Fallout New Vegas, and I think it's really good. I think it'd be awesome to do art professionally. It's just that when I look at art from Evan Lee or Feng Zun, I feel like there is no chance. Well, they didn't start off that way, right? So there's a chance, but it's true that it's really difficult. And again, it's a case of how much are you willing to put in the work. And a lot of it has to do with how much do you enjoy it. And I think if you're really passionate and you really enjoy it and you're someone who is dedicated enough to put in the work, and let's say think art is easier for you, the same way you would see some guys who are just better at sports. They're genetically better. It doesn't mean that another guy can't work and train really hard and become just as good. It's just they have that advantage, and so it makes it easier for them. and they have, let's say you have the time and the ability, you have the time to do it, then it's like, yeah, you can do it. It's just making all that stuff happen, and being passionate enough. That's the hard part. Um, let's see. Linka says, how can I open up my mind so I don't get stuck with the same ideas for every single drawing? What do you think? How can you open up your mind so you don't get stuck with the same ideas for every single drawing?
For me, it's always from outside sources. So it's like looking at other. Because when it's just by myself, I start to draw the same thing over and over again. So for me, I take a look at other art, like other artists' work, watch a movie, read books, go out, look for inspiration, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard Martinez says, practice makes perfect, but nobody is perfect, so why practice? Just kidding. Yeah, it's true. I think practice makes better. It doesn't make perfect, but it definitely makes better.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you listen to? I don't know why that's important. I don't know. I just don't really understand why that would. Because everyone likes their own music. It's like, whatever. Okay. I guess the chosen 1228 says, I practice drawing every day on my sketchbook and I've improved immensely since then, but I feel nervous every time before I start. Do you know how to overcome that? I'm glad you've improved and I'm glad you're drawing every day. I almost feel like you've won then because you're doing it, right? So even if you feel nervous, I don't know, maybe you could ask yourself, why do I feel nervous? What am I afraid of? Blah, blah, blah. But even so, you're doing it, and I think that's the important thing, because I felt the same way where I would always feel paralyzed and afraid and things, and, well, do it anyway, Okay, Daniel McClendon says, hey, Sycra, how long do you think it will take until you're as good as Kim Jong-gi? Not to say you're worse, but he's pretty insane in the brain. I'm confident to say I will never be as good as Kim Jong-gi, and that is not me saying something like, oh, you're giving up. I just honestly don't think it's humanly possible for me to get as good as Kim Jong-gi in drawing, or it's almost like at what he does, he's the best. And so I've defined what I can do so I can be the best me, because I certainly know I cannot compete with Kim Jong-gi. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a defeatist, but I don't think I will ever be as good as Kim Jong-gi. And I'm okay with that because he exists and he's a nice guy. So I'm glad. It's like I'm glad he's nice. That's nice. Question. This is sort of in reference to Bobby Chu's stream years ago. Sycra, are you going to try to do live streams or daily study streams in the future? I think they are motivating. Daily streams, I don't know. I don't think so. Just because I don't think I'd be able to maintain it. I did live streams daily for a few months, maybe 3 months, where I pretty much did it. I think I just took Sundays off, and that was maybe a year or more ago, and it was something that it was nice, but at the same time, after a while, it got really draining. I felt I had no energy, and so it's I don't know. I want to do more consistent things though, like have on Saturday I stream, and on this day I do this, and on that day I do that. But as of yet, I'm not having my life together enough. All right. Amira says, I like the drawing you did of me, Sycra. I don't know what drawing I did of you, Amira, but I'm glad you liked it. Chris, Sycra, how do you get all the hotties? I don't. Oh. What is a good way to create a dynamic action composition? Have a lot of diagonals. I think diagonals are keys to dynamic compositions, asymmetry, stuff like that. Um, oh, we got 5 minutes. Oh, that's scary, Bob.
Mm.
That's very scary.
Hope you like it.
Oh, there's 5 minutes left.
Oh, can I make it?
I think you can. Hi, Sycra, nice hat. I don't know what you're talking about. Evgeny Shumisky says Syncra. Syncra. You said already a few times that you learned animation at art school. What made you leave this profession if had left it off course? I never intended to be an animator. I just wanted to be able to have life in my drawings. I just admired animation but feared it because I did not think I had it in me to draw that many drawings. And as it turns out, I wasn't very good at animation. I struggled much harder than my other classmates did, or it felt that way anyways. I certainly was not the top in the class. I think I was maybe below average, I would say. But near the end, I felt I understood the concepts a little bit better than most, but not in the beginning for sure. But yeah, I was not into animation as a career. I just wanted to get more gesture in life and maybe a job, but that didn't. Um, George Eraklios says, "Do you like Sergei Kolosov?" Indeed, I do. He's so good, so amazing. I think he is one of my favorite artists. Dr. Nebula says, "Hey, Sycra, what do you think of Sycro's works?" Well, I would say he needs to do more backgrounds. He's really not getting out of his comfort zone. And he is above average at best. Hey, Sycra, at what age did you attend animation school? I'm currently a first-year animation student, and I'm not really enjoying the course. I'm considering leaving to get good and find myself. Thoughts? I think 26, 27 was the age I was in animation school. I think so. Yeah, that sounds about right. So I was an old man, and yeah. Jacob Draws Junk says, Sycra, I'm really struggling with drawing poses without reference. I do a lot of practice and I'm going through figure drawing for all it's worth, but I'm just not going to get any tips. Are you simplifying it to the basic line of action and the basic gesture? Because that might help. Another thing is to act out the poses, which I think we talked about already. Mm-hmm. Busted Robot 12 says, what were you like in high school? I don't know. That's not important, is it?
No.
Oh, there's 1 minute left. Oh, I better.
Oh man, I gotta make it in 1 minute.
Sycra, so technically picking and choosing from your favorite sources of inspiration while learning life drawing, all that in order to be the best you and not the best them. Yeah. Be the best you! No one can be a better you than you.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, you have done it again. I'm loving it, Bob. It was my request and you made me so happy. You're killing it, Bob, as usual. Hey, Wave Loop. Hey, Ricardo. Ricardo.
Oh shit. How much time do I have left?
Yeah, I'll let you keep going.
Oh man, I didn't make it.
You didn't make it. Well, it's okay. It's still. You got. Let's say 40 seconds.
40 seconds. Okay. Oh shit! Can I make it in 40 seconds?
I just want to thank everybody who came to this sudden stream, and hopefully I'll have some more stuff and better videos soon. Uh,
Thank you
thanks,
everybody for coming.
thanks, Bob. This is so awkward.
Oh my god! Don't worry, I'm almost done. Uh, there we go.
Nice,
Done.
nice job. All right, guys. Thanks for coming by. This was a sudden streams. Thanks for coming on such short notice. Bye.
Bye.
Yay.